I'm Matt Bouchard with REIT.com, and I'm here in Hollywood, Florida for REITWise 2012, NAREIT's Law, Accounting, and Finance Conference. Joining me is Jim Hanks, partner with Venable LLP. Jim, last year at this event, we discussed the success that REITs were having raising capital. That success has continued, but we haven't really seen a lot of deal activity necessarily come out of that. What do you see or expect regarding deal activity the rest of this year?
Well, I think that there's a strong likelihood that there will be continued deal activity or maybe even increased deal activity with the stock market doing as well as it's doing. I think there's good reason to believe that there will be opportunities for REITs in the M&A market.
And you mentioned the market performing well. Is the market positioned now to favorably receive new REIT IPOs?
Very definitely. I think that with the strong market, there will be good receptivity to REIT IPOs. A lot of REITs went private in the first decade of this century. There's a lot of real estate that has been public before that could come back out into the public markets, real estate that has an established track record that should be reassuring to investors. And then there's real estate that has never been in the public market, but is in geographic or market sectors that do have a strong record of performing well.
And for those companies that are considering an IPO or doing an IPO, what are some of the governance issues that they have to be aware of?
My advice to our clients that are in the pre-IPO planning stage is think very, very long and hard before you get into a position where you have given up, much less permanently, some strong protective measures, particularly against hostile takeovers, which can occur either in the form of a hostile tender offer or, particularly in the case of REITs, given the restrictions on ownership and transfer, they can also take place in the form of a hostile proxy contest. And there's been a lot of empirical data over the last several years showing that companies that have good defenses against that kind of activity get higher premiums.
And how are governance issues affecting existing REITs?
ISS has come out with its new Grid 2.0 profile for all Russell 3000 companies, which includes, of course, many publicly traded REITs. And it's very important that REITs and all other public companies pay attention to those profiles, particularly at this point, before they mail their proxy statement. Because once their proxy statement is mailed, then ISS will review and revise its profile based on this year's proxy statement. And if there are things in there that ISS doesn't like, then that may affect its voting recommendations on specific proposals, like say on pay, or even on whether ISS recommends election of the directors or trustees.
Great. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, Matt. It was a pleasure.
For more from REITWise 2012, be sure to visit REIT.com.